What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Welcome to the Old Guy in the Club podcast. Neil, I'm sure that was the choice of music coming in will make sense when we bring on our guest in a little bit, right?
Yep.
I would hope
it was
so.
a no-brainer when I was like, oh, yeah. I got to come up with an opening song.
Nice. All right, well, welcome everybody. Anybody that's joining us in the chat. And real quick, normally I would recap last week. You know what? I'm not going to recap last week because I didn't really like the show. I didn't like hanging out with you guys last week.
Well, that makes four of us.
Well, there
three
you
of
go.
us. How many of us were there? I mean, none of us were pretty happy with your performance either there, pal.
That's all right. I'm just messing around. I always love hanging out with you guys. And before we get started, I want to give a big birthday shout out to our friend, a friend of the show, and the legend, Sydney Sampson. It is his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Sydney.
I don't know if he's listening today. I would think he has better things to do than listen to us on his birthday. And
plus, how many hours ahead is Amsterdam right now?
It's probably about midnight in Amsterdam, maybe 1 a.m. So it's like
definitely not.
But what is very, very cool is that he is awaiting any minute the birth of his daughter.
Hey,
so,
that's rad.
So that's really exciting, and I can't wait to see.
But what if she's born on the same day as him?
Then
they like duel for the spotlight.
Well, they're 9 hours ahead. I think they're like 7-8 hours ahead. Even at 7 hours.
Yeah. So even if she's
it would be tomorrow.
Right now, it would be tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So he's safe.
Man, this is I bet he's time traveling. I mean, it's all this math we're doing here.
She's in the future.
So, guys, I'm glad we haven't had a guest in like 6 weeks, which is bananas because we did a lot of guests in a row, and then we kind of thought, let's try some other stuff. I mean, we obviously realized that the show sucked without bringing people in, so now we're going back to our guest, which is great because we have so many ridiculously fun friends of ours that will just add so much to our conversations. I mean, I love our conversations. I think people probably enjoy them a little bit. But to add in some of our friends is going to be great. And there's a segment that we're looking at doing in the future, which is loosely called, no, it's not Things White People Do, because that is, I think
you're the only one that can speak on it.
I think that got nixed last week when I tried to bring that one up. But we're going to do a segment called Our Friends Have Cool Jobs, because we have some friends of ours that just have these ridiculously cool jobs and have millions of stories about, what they do, traveling the world, and the people that they meet in their work lives, and it's pretty cool. Zilla, what is that? The Padres on behind you there?
Yeah,
so a baseball game going on.
So Jenna noticed my San Diego Padres are in the third game of a 3-game wildcard series against the St. Louis Cardinals, and the game is on while we are on. So I figure I can get a little glimpse of the score in the rear view and stay apprised of what's happening. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but there are very few experiences as painful as being a San Diego professional sports fan. San Diego and professional sports aren't really spoken in the same sentence.
Zilla, you could be a Jets fan.
Yeah, no, that's never going to happen.
It's equally as bad.
Your team didn't leave the city, and yeah, I get it. I mean, there are a lot of painful cities that have a lot of, like the Cleveland Browns, for example. But my Padres are doing a little something, and so I've got the game on in the background. Thanks for noticing, Jenna. Thanks for the good luck wishes. Fingers crossed. I hope everybody's team wins, so long as it's not against mine.
All right. Well, speaking of San Diego, and yes,
real quick
ahead,
though.
Zilla.
I'm going to apologize in advance, Justin and Neil. I might have to duck out for a quick second. I've got a little. I'm waiting on a phone call. I've got a door that's broken at one of the properties that I run, and I'm waiting to hear from a door guy, and he's supposed to be calling in any second. I was hoping that he was going to call before we got on the air. If he does call, I promise it's a work-related call. I'm going to take it. I'm going to excuse myself, and I'll come right back. So if I just disappear, that's the reason why. I'm sure you guys will survive without me.
We want you to broadcast this phone call, and we want you to
No.
talk with the guy.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Damn it. All right. Well, speaking of San Diego and the Padres, our guest today is a good buddy of ours. I believe Zilla wins the prize for knowing him the longest, which is probably got to be 20 years, right?
Let's ask him. Let's see if our memories jive.
Okay. Well, let me give a little intro here. So our guest today is DJ Fingaz, a.k.a. William Houseman, a.k.a. Fing Kong. He's a lot of things. He's another one of our friends that's not just a one-dimensional human. I know him originally as a DJ, but he is also a photographer. That's his passion, I believe, and he's been doing a lot of work with photography since the pandemic happened. He was a touring DJ for Exhibit, the rapper. Not Exhibit anything else. I don't know why I said the rapper. Like, who wouldn't know that? I'm sure. I think he's toured with some other artists as well. What else does he do? He has a podcast, which is a recent development, and it's awesome. And it's just him talking, which a lot of times seems like this podcast when I just don't shut up for like minutes at a time. But his is just him, which is
it's not
scary
easy
to me. It's scary to me, I'll tell you. But he pulls it off. And there's so much more I could say about him, and I have a list of all the things that is interesting about him. But we'll get into that when he gets on. Zilla, anything you want to add before we bring him in? Because you know him the best probably of all of us.
I say let's just, without any further ado,
Let him dig his own grave.
Yeah, for real. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Fing Kong, DJ Fingaz. Unmute yourself, homie.
I got him.
There he is.
There he is. What is that? Is that a Hello Kitty mask?
Is that what you got, Nick?
Oh, unicorn. Okay.
I wore it for Neil. That's all.
Look like a My Little Pony
I don't
mask.
trust him. He's probably been around too many people.
Oh no. That's the other. That's the guy above you.
Wait, what? I don't go anywhere.
He goes to his country club.
Yeah,
I do
right.
that. I do.
Really
my
quickly,
intro.
ladies and gentlemen, while you're on the broadcast, of course, this show is a whole lot better with you in it. So please like and subscribe while you are here. Also, commentary, questions, one-offs, jokes. We want to hear it all. So let's get that chat room moving. We love that you guys are here. Welcome to the Old Guy in the Club.
Yes. Welcome, Fingaz.
Hey, thanks. I like that intro. That was kind of cool. I'm all kinds of things.
You are.
You're like
you
the
are.
Swiss
I mean,
Army
look,
knife.
I have a list of so many. I have a list of so many things that like are interesting about you. The least of which is that you're just a good human being, which in our business, they're kind of few and far between. And that's
Yes.
not to say that you're the nicest guy. Because you are not nice to a lot of people, and that's one of the reasons I like you. Because you just keep it real with everybody. Neil, is that wrong?
No. That is absolutely right. That is absolutely right.
I mean, somebody that's nice to everybody and is fake, like, that's not my kind of person. And Fingaz, like, if you listen to his podcast, like, and have any in-depth conversation with him, he will tell you what he thinks and will not apologize for it, which is incredible. That's a great quality to have, in my opinion.
Yeah, unless I'm really wrong. I can take it if I'm really, really wrong about something, I will apologize. But if it's my opinion or my perspective, then I won't apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the things I have on my list about you, and these are like, and these are just not. When I first met you, let's start here. When I first met you, you were, I would say, and I'm guessing, and I hope I don't offend you, I'm guessing you were 60 pounds heavier than you are right now. Is that about right?
Nah, 40.
40. Okay. Now, you never looked sloppy or bad, but you look great now.
I feel attacked.
What? No,
just self-deprecating in my heaviness.
The reason I bring this up is, I think it's obvious knowing you that you've gotten healthier over the years. But what I want to talk about even more than that is you take care of yourself. You pamper yourself, I think is the right word. You do manicures, pedicures, massages, all that stuff. So like a lot of men don't really think about things like that. And tell me why you do it and what it does for you.
I mean, there's certain things that I probably didn't do when I was younger or thought was a little weird, like yoga. Like I would have been like, I'm not going to do yoga. But as I got older, I was like, I love yoga. You know what I mean? Like you kind of grew into it. I looked at it differently than being kind of like a feminine thing, and as far as like, pampering myself, I deserve it. I've worked hard. My schedule is crazy. So I balance it out with that. Massages, as you guys know, I've lived in Asia the last 5 years. So there's no shortage of massages every corner for regular massages, not not the good stuff, but regular massages. And I pay, $5 or $6 there compared to paying $75 here. So obviously I'm getting, every day, twice, 3 times a week. And, I take care of mentally and physically relaxing myself just from plane rides and touring and, work and stuff like that. It's been my thing for many, many years as far as that routine, traveling and doing all that, pampering. You know what I mean? So
That's amazing. You can really get a massage for $5 or $6. That is incredible.
Oh, all day long. Yeah. Like literally my 90-minute massage with like cupping and hot stone and sauna and tip and everything, I pay about $16 US. It's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Here I would pay $116 minimum. You know what I mean? So it's just a no-brainer for me to do this stuff.
I remember Vice's wedding in the Philippines. Same thing. Me, Deluxe, Syph, and a few of us went for massages. Legit massages. And like that.
Hold on. I love how everybody, when they start talking about massages, they go, no. Like legit ones. Like
you have to say that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like 5 dudes, 5 DJs going into a massage parlor. Already sounds sus.
Yeah, doesn't look sketchy whatsoever.
Yeah, so I have to throw out like legit deep tissue on my back. And it was like $7. I gave her I think $30 US. I was like, I would have paid double for this. Like,
and then
I'll
she
be back
was your
tomorrow.
girlfriend for the week after that.
Yeah. And then she followed me out. Like the whole team followed me out and was like, whatever you want.
They made you king of the village.
Go ahead.
I've had other massages. Don't worry. I've had plenty of other massages.
Damn.
And this is why I love William, because he keeps it 100% no matter what the subject matter is. The dude keeps it real for as long as we've known each other. I mean, listen, your lack of a filter can be both awesome and awful simultaneously, but over the years getting to know you, it's really one of your most endearing qualities is that you just never, there's no doubt as to where you stand with you or with other people, because you keep it 100% all the time. And it's something I've come to learn to admire and respect.
I keep it 92%, like 92% between like 9 a.m. and like 7 p.m.
Neil, it's easy to keep it real when you actually like everybody. and you like everybody.
Yeah.
I can't even count on one hand. Like, I'm not using the right phrase. In all the years I've known you now, I can't even think of 3 people that you don't like.
No, I can name 3 people. I can name exactly 3 people.
I could think
And,
of
like,
3 right now.
Yeah, I could think of 3 people right now.
Damn.
So Zilla
Yeah.
and William, you guys go back a long way. How did that
That's a
start?
fair
And then,
statement.
I think you guys worked together at one point, right?
Yeah. I mean, Will, you want to jump
Yeah.
on this and I'll chime in?
Well, I mean, basically the radio gig, that was the main thing with Zilla and myself, was the radio. I was kind of in and out of it just a few times early on and then kind of mid my career, but it really didn't stick with me. It wasn't something that I could see myself really being grounded to radio. I loved it at the time, especially in the earlier part, the 90s, the earlier
Yeah.
part of the radio I loved, but now I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
I mean, it's fair to say that over the years, just like anything, but radio in particular has gone from what was basically the Wild West into a very regimented and structured corporate world. And, for artists like William, it's sometimes you just don't want to be put into a box. You want to be able to express yourself musically whichever way you see fit. I know that we've had, multiple conversations in my office over the years about like whether this song is going to go, whether that's, whether this is a hit, whether that's not a hit, whether it's a radio hit. And that's a completely separate box than from whether or not a song's got legs or not, whether it's appropriate for the audience that we're trying to market to, because at the end of the day, a radio station is nothing more than a marketing vehicle. But it's great to have somebody as musically minded. And I don't want to make this sound like the Zilla Loves William show, but
But it is.
But it is. But I'll tell you this: what Fingaz brought to the table was being out on the streets, and I learned that from him, was that you can't just show up and expect things to go like. I'm not phrasing it right. You got to put your money where your mouth is, and if you want to be a radio station and representative of new music and the culture, then you actually have to be out there. And William, as a touring DJ with his nightly nightclub gigs and all of those things, I mean, be it from a distance, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I need to be doing more of. And I found my lane, and that's how I progressed forward. But it's setting the example. You can't just jump on the radio and be an advocate for music and not live the life. And William did that.
Yeah, true.
There you go, bud.
True. And that's the only reason I came back to radio, is because they gave me the kind of the freedom to have a show that was like mixtape orientated, where I could break new music. Like that's the only way I would go back, because I didn't want to just do what everybody else was doing. And it worked for a while. Everything's numbers based. They didn't give it enough books to like pick up some legs really, and they just decided to go back to regular programming. So I left. You know what I mean? No big deal. But it was fun.
So Fingaz, tell us a little bit about like how you came up in the business and started doing jumped into the nightclub scene, and then also the artists that you've worked with. And some of the stories from the road. And I mean, we have our segment of Knight's Tale, which I know we'll get into in a little bit. And I'm curious to hear how that happens, because how do you just become a DJ for, let's say, Exhibit?
Hey guys, before we jump into that call, this call is ringing in, so I'm going to jump out and I'll be back in the studio in 2 seconds. I'll see you guys in a few.
This is the least professional podcast in the world.
Hey, I love
say
it.
that again.
Spontaneous. It's definitely spontaneous, but for sure, like as far as the DJ thing, I would say I've been in it professionally now for 25 years full time, 25 years.
Wow.
And I've been doing it for 30, I would say, I started when I was just about 15. I'm 45 now. It was something that I really kind of had in the back of my mind because I was already into like graffiti and b-boying and music and everything as a kid. And so when I discovered firsthand watching DJ was when I was like, okay, I want to do this, and it was inspiring. And then I kind of went from there, and started getting my feet wet with learning more about DJing, the fundamentals and things that DJs don't do now. You know what I mean? So so I learned all that and the history of things, and like I said, I was already inspired by hip hop, and that was my genre of choice growing up anyway. East Coast influence, even though I was on the West Coast, I was very heavily East Coast influenced with hip hop. Besides Ice-T and NWA and stuff like that, but it wasn't until probably some years later where I really got heavy into West Coast and underground West Coast artists and independent West Coast artists like E40 and all these people, that I didn't really listen to then, and so I grew and, decided that this was what I wanted. And once I went forward, I never looked back, and I still haven't stopped, to be honest. It's short and very short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you transition? Like, how do you become Exhibit's DJ? Is that through your radio gig? I mean, I would assume, or just being in studios with people.
So basically, I was the type of guy that always was knew that branding and networking was going to get me somewhere. So early on, I was always spending a lot of time in LA, even though I was in San Diego. I knew that LA is where I had to be to network, to meet people. It wasn't going to happen in San Diego. I could be the biggest I want in San Diego,
especially back then. That doesn't
mean it's going to advance me anywhere else, especially back then. So I started really networking with label reps, and I had a good rapport with people, and they respected me for what I did and how I was. And so they would always invite me to shows, invite me to, personal artist things. And I just built my Rolodex like that. So I was always around at the Loud Records office, and I met the Alcoholics, and I was always around them, and they were coming to San Diego doing shows a lot. I DJ'd a show with them. We became cool. Then I'm in LA, and I meet Exhibit with them. He was just a backup with them. He was doing stuff with them. He came up through that whole Liquid crew with King T and Alcoholics. And so I was always around him early and kind of in passing and, knew each other. And then he had somebody in his camp that was from San Diego that was his like head of security / stylist, road manager type of person. And that guy was from San Diego. So him and I had known each other. So there was always this connection with Exhibit and I through one of those angles. And then probably, I would say about 15, 16, 17 years ago, we started connecting more on things. And then I was touring overseas, and I would do a show and he was there, and we would see each other in a different country. You know what I mean? Like, so it started to build like that. And then all of a sudden, I started coming around more, and this was about probably 12 years ago. And he hadn't been touring for quite some time. And my friend that was our mutual friend was like, hey, he wants to go do a show. He needs a DJ. I was like, oh, okay, let's go. And so we did the show, and it was amazing. And after that, he was like, okay, I want you to roll with me. And we never looked back. So I was pretty much on the road for, a decade with him. It was a lot of good stuff. Became great friends. It was amazing. Some of the best tours of my life. I had toured a little bit with other artists like Genuine, the R&B singer. I was with him a few times. I toured with Tyrese a few times. Toured with Booyah Tribe early on. Big West Coast legends. You know what I mean? So that's how I met Suge Knight. That's how I became friends with Suge. That's how just so many different things.
Fingaz, side question. I've always wanted to ask this, and I've always wanted to ask this in general, not even just you. I should have just Googled it. What song is Booyah Tribe known for?
Well, their first album, they didn't.
I've
have,
always
like,
wanted to know that.
There was no commercial success like that, right? The first album was really, really classic. You have a talented group of brothers, you know what I mean? Like Samoans from Carson, Bloods, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah,
they were
I
so
know.
heavily respected, you know what I mean? And their music hit overseas. They got big in Japan. That was a song, right? They got big over in Japan. And so when they decided to go back over there, I happened to be around because they launched a clothing line. So they wanted me, the guy that was doing their clothing line wanted me to be like the DJ at all the Magic convention booths and everything.
Yeah,
so
I remember
when
it.
they were like, hey, we're going to go back on tour, we want you to come with us to Japan. I was like, all right, cool. So I started touring with them in Japan, and it was crazy. Like they had already had from years prior this big fan base in Japan. So it was just like super crazy, but they're legendary. Like the stuff that they've done, but you're not gonna be like, oh, what's successful, super successful,
Don't get me wrong, like, look, I'm good friends with the Dub guys, and like, what was it before that? Before Dub magazine hit, it was Industry Insider. You remember all those dudes, right? And like they used to run with Booyah Tribe all the time. It was like they ran with like Cypress Hill and all those dudes. And they're like, yo, we got Booyah Tribe. And I was like, dope. I knew the name. I've known the name for years. But then I was like, wait, what song do they sing? And I couldn't figure it out. And I've never really, until you brought it up just now, I'm like, here's my chance to finally ask somebody, what do they sing?
Well, for me, it was special. For me, this is why that was so special for me, because if I back up about 7 years prior to that, I was in high school and a buddy of mine had their album and would play it in his lowrider truck every day I was driving with him. So I heard this stuff and I was like, oh, this is so amazing. Fast forward, I am in Tokyo, Japan, and touring Japan with Booyah Tribe. Like, it was like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, I never would have thought that, but that's how my whole career and life has been set up. Things that I've done, I would have been like, are you kidding me? You couldn't have told me in 10 lifetimes. You know what I mean? The people I'm friends with, or that I've toured with, or that I know, or the things I've done, I never would have, imagined it ever happened. I just kept going.
So
Neil,
crazy.
were you playing at in Reno when Genuine did a performance? Was that you, or was that somebody else I was out there for?
That was not me, but I've actually played with Genuine before in Salt Lake City.
I mean,
whoa, pause.
Oh, I played with him.
I've been to a lot. I've been to a lot of shows with performers, just doing a 3-song set or something like that. And that dude commanded a crowd as well as anyone I've ever seen. And after the show, he took pictures with every single female that came backstage. I mean, there was a line. I can't imagine the stories that would happen on the road with that guy. I mean, I'm sure. You know what? Let's get into our first segment. So our first segment is called A Knight's Tale, and it's where you're gonna kind of break down a story for us of something that happened in it could be just a random night out. It doesn't have to be anything on the road. It can just be some kind of fun or crazy story that that happened to you at some point in your life. So here is A Knight's Tale with Fingaz. You like those fancy graphics, don't you?
Oh my God.
That was awesome. I was like, whoa, I got set up for this. I love it. Yeah, there's so many of them. I honestly could sit here all day, but if I was to pick something that randomly, like, it was kind of crazy on tour, it was probably, like I said, it's a mile long, but I would say this one time we were touring and we were actually bring up Amsterdam. We were actually on our way to Amsterdam. We were in Germany on our way to Amsterdam, and there was some huge storm that like stopped all the flight. Like, we were at the airport trying to get on the flight, and everything was grounded. So we said, okay, let's take the train. Train was grounded. Like we had to get to Amsterdam for wherever we were in Germany. And so Exhibit in his Rolodex had these guys that he knew from years prior that had car service. So he somehow messages them and says, hey, I need you to get us, from this place in Germany to Amsterdam. It was probably a 2.5-hour drive. And they're like, okay, yeah, we got cars. And he's like, okay, well, there's like 8 of us and we have luggage. We've been on tour for 2 months. You know what I mean? Like bring the bins, the whatever they're called, the vans. And so we waiting for these guys at the train station. And in the midst of this, there's a guy trying to get back to where we were going, and he was from America. He was a troop, like a Marine, and he was stationed there trying to get back to see his family in Amsterdam or whatever it was. So Exhibit invites him to come with us too. And so there's like 9 of us now. These guys pull up in the cars, and they have a Mercedes and an Audi car. And we're looking like, what the hell are we going to do this? All of us are just like, there's no way. It's not happening. And Exhibit was determined. He's like, no, fuck that. We're going, da, da, da. And we're looking at him like, okay, I mean, maybe you're really good at Tetris, but like, how is this going to happen, So basically, all of us and all the luggage were, I sat in the back with 2 other people. Each of us had luggage on our laps. Then someone in the front seat with luggage on the laps. Then the driver in both cars, trunks filled to the T, everything. And we just proceeded to go to Amsterdam. Well, that 2.5-hour trip took 9.5 hours because the freeway got shut down from the snow. So I'm in the back like this with luggage. I just said, I'm going to sleep. So I just tried to sleep it off. I was okay, well, I'll wake up when we get to Amsterdam. I wake up in the middle of the freeway with snow up to the door. I'm like, what the hell's going on here, And so basically it took us 9.5 hours. We made it to Amsterdam. Exhibit was like, I told you so. Everybody was like, and the next day I ordered a prostitute.
Damn.
To be honest with you,
Looks like I picked the right time to come back into this
It's been a
show.
rough trip.
Damn.
It's the red light district. I'm on the phone like I need a massage. Come to my room, and the
So this
show
could be
went
an
on
air quotes
next night, and
massage.
we kept going.
Oh man! All right, 33
One of
minutes.
those
That's where the
massages.
recap video is starting. Oh, man.
What
I'll tell
the
you, there's
fuck
no
did
one
I
that
just
can
walk
keep more
into?
details
Jesus.
about my life than me, because hey, I'm a single grown man. I do what I want to do. I don't have to answer to anybody, and I do what I want to do. I'm in Amsterdam. You know what I mean? Like there's a red light district. I have my picture at the strip club on the wall of the fucking bar. There's a picture of me and Exhibit when you walk in there. Like they love us. You know what I mean? So, like,
Damn.
yeah. So shout out to the greenhouse out there too. The Yoa, the owner, is a good friend of ours. And so Exhibit was there the whole next day at the greenhouse. I mean, everything's free. They got food, they got weed, and I don't smoke or do drugs. So, but that day I tried weed tea. I was like, shit, it's been a rough day. Let me try some weed tea. And I drank that, and I was like, I'm tripping because it goes right into your bloodstream. But just to say the least, that was just one incident of many I could go on with. But we made it to Amsterdam.
That's a good one. I like that one. So you have, I mean, most importantly in your life, you're a dad. You have, you have two fully grown. You have
Surprise!
two.
Brother and sister. They're my brother and sister. That's what everybody thinks.
Okay. Yeah.
And I do
But
have no other kids around the world. I can confirm that. I have 0 kids around the world. I know.
You do know that I follow you on Instagram, right? We've been friends for quite a while.
Yes. And I have none. Trust me.
Nah, I don't know about that. I really don't know about that, but I've seen your antics. I'm like, bro, really?
Hey man, he's living his best life. Look, if I knew
Yeah.
how fucked up 2020 was gonna be, I probably would have been on that, William Fingaz steez for many years prior. Because I mean, tomorrow makes 200 consecutive days of these four walls. Doctor's appointments and necessary whatnots. But I'm doing my part to be a safe, concerned citizen here in the world of Corona. And but if I knew that 2020 was going to be like this, I might have been a little bit more footloose and fancy free.
Wow.
What the?
If that's not an old guy saying, I don't know what is.
Man, I just saw
logged that in there.
I saw like Meatloaf TV dinner as he was saying. I don't know why that popped into my head on one of those TV trays and a recliner. I literally just saw that.
It was a Swanson's. It was a Swanson's chicken pot pie TV dinner. Comes in the blue box.
Swanson Salisbury steak.
Oh,
for real, I'm like, what?
Can't be mad at that. Polar Knights is saying best cam setup ever. It's like the evolution of beards. It's like before, after, and way after.
Oh shit!
That's
wait. Where's Neil's? Neil doesn't. Do you have a beard?
No beard.
So we're going clockwise. We go babyface Neil Jackson to you've got the full color, me the salt and pepper, and Justin auditioning to be Santa at Macy's this Christmas.
Right. That's what he's doing.
Look, if these guys don't start working soon, I might need the cash of working.
That might be your gig.
Although I did mean to mention this earlier in the show, and I talked to you guys before the show. We actually, for those of you in the chat that don't know, I own a talent agency. Neil is one of the DJs I represent, E-Rock as well, and I have a number of other artists too. We actually have a virtual gig right now, right this second, going on a yacht in Miami. There is a virtual gig that E-Rock is playing, and then in about a little less than an hour, he is going to raid Neil, and Neil is going to take over and play the last hour and a half on that party. It's a friend of mine. They're on a yacht in Miami, and they're just partying it up. A super yacht. The thing is ridiculous.
Name names.
So, I can't do that.
I know.
But so Neil is going to have to, if we go long, Neil is going to have to bounce in about 40 minutes so he can go over there and get over there and prepare for his
and cut
his
on
set.
the wheels of steel.
You're going to get from New York to Miami in 40 minutes? Oh, I get it. You're beaming in from New York to Miami. Got it. Sorry. I thought technology was good. Didn't realize it was that good.
No, I will be here thinking about a yacht.
So yeah, I mean it's craziness, man. It's crazy that that's even an option, like to be able to do that. Fingaz, have you dabbled in the live streaming at all?
Zero. Yeah.
It's just no desire, huh?
Anytime somebody goes like this, I think of Dave Chappelle. Keep your butthole tight. Sorry. Sorry. Right when you did that, I was like, ooh. No, wait. Fingaz, I'm just curious. Did you not dabble into it? Why? I'm just curious.
There's a few reasons, and I've spoken about them on my podcast. For me personally, I just already wanted to make a transition from DJing to doing photography anyway. So I didn't see putting so much effort into streaming when the only DJing I will be doing moving forward next year sometime will be very selective. It's not something I want to keep pushing. So I wanted to put my time into photography instead of streaming DJ-wise.
Sure.
And I do want to do something down the road. I have the concept, but I want to do it for me and for people that really follow me rather than, I'm not concerned about keeping the consistency with my name out there or anything. And I applaud the DJs that do, because I see some that are so consistent almost every single day, and I'll pop in and out of things just to see what people are doing. Yeah, no, Neil been consistent, but you get some eyes on you and you have something going. I've seen some that still to this day have like 7 views every single day, but they still do it, and I applaud them, because that's a lot of time to put into that,
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to do it, you have to kind of have more to it, and you did that early on, Neil, with the bar and the different. You were a little bit more advanced on that, so that's good. I'm talking about the guys that just put their phone into their midsection and play records. Like that's meaningless to me. Like if I want to do that, I put Spotify on and look at myself in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it benefits some of the DJs the way they're doing it. So I think if they give back, or they do something that's more of a production, at least educate or give back or do something, then I think it's more worth the time of the listener as well. And I think everybody saw kind of what D Nice did and thought they were instantly all going to be these DJs that were on this pedestal like that. And that was the right place, right time, right people around him, and it's not going to happen DJ. Like that again for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the right
deserving,
guy.
well deserving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is the most authentic, one of the more authentic people I've ever met. I think he was, as you say, the perfect guy to do it, because he's
right.
He really, when he gets on there and he's kind of emotional about, the things that are happening. He feels that. He is so appreciative of everything. Like, he doesn't take anything for granted. And I mean, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And speaking of D Nice, he is a photographer as well.
Yeah, right.
Now, is that, I know for him it's more of a creative outlet than anything. I know he's going to put some books out with his photography. Why are you doing it? Is it just for a creative outlet, or is it like, obviously it has to start there, but do you see it as a business going forward?
Well, it has been, thankfully, for some time, because I have so many. I'm already so established and have so many connections in music. The transition for me to utilize another talent in that field was easy. So I've already shot music video for Exhibit that has millions and millions of views on. I've already done these things due to what I was already doing. But my passion for photography is always been there. I've always had the composition, and I've always been creative, but I took most of last year to learn the technical so I could speak the language, not just like a DJ being like, oh, I bought a laptop, I'm a DJ. I didn't want to do that to the photographers. I didn't want to be, oh, I'm a photographer and not know how to speak.
You need more than just a laptop to be a DJ? Shut up, seriously?
Yeah.
You need headphones.
You need a black outfit too.
Yeah.
Well, that I have an abundance of.
Deep V. You need a deep V.
I have a deep V that goes down to my belly button. Does that qualify me now? Can I headline now?
So I have a morning stream, and we were talking about I was one of the women in my chat. I'm teaching her 12-year-old son how to DJ, and like I'm hardcore when it comes to teaching somebody to DJ. Like, I don't let anything get by. Like, if it's off, it's off, and I'll say it, and we're gonna try and fix it. But I was like, yeah, so I'm teaching. I said it on the mic in my morning stream. I'm like, so I'm teaching this person's son how to DJ. Somebody replied back, did you teach him the Jesus pose? The funniest thing I've read. And I'm like, actually, that might be a move, a DJ move.
I can attest that Neil takes his teaching very seriously, because when the pandemic first started, I decided if I'm going to sit here and do nothing, I represent DJs. I've been around DJs my whole life. I might as well learn how to actually technically do it. And I had access to equipment, so I purchased, a couple things to round out everything I needed. And then Neil gave me a couple lessons. And I got to the point where I could actually mix some songs together. Like you said a minute ago, like, I would never disrespect DJs by saying, like, I'm a DJ now. Like, no, because there's so much more than just blending two records together.
Hell, I barely even say I'm a DJ.
Right.
My,
it's like,
it's not
DJ
as cool
career,
as it used to be.
It's not.
as cool as saying you're a DJ. It used to be
not.
cool, like I'm a DJ. Now when you say that, I feel like it's saying I'm an Instagram model. Like I seriously don't like to even say, oh, I'm a DJ. Oh yeah, okay, you and everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not
Or you
something-
put the discllaimer beforehand, like, look, before
Look,
you say
I
anything.
assume it's right. Yeah, for sure. And it's
But-
sad.
but
It's
it's
a sad time.
Yeah, but it's almost like so. I was like, this was cool. I learned how to do it. All right, I'm done. Now I'm gonna start a podcast, and now it's the same fucking thing. It's like, oh, everybody has a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's me.
See,
Day
I
late and a dollar
actually had
short.
an idea. I had an idea for a podcast 7 years ago when I had my own radio show on Ski TV in Los Angeles. So DJ Ski, he's an amazing dude. I've known him a long time, but he gave me my own Fabricali radio on Ski TV. So that's when I was going to do my podcast, and I just never got around to doing it because I was touring so much. So obviously, when this hit, I said, you know what? It's time for me just to do it, get going. Because I built my own studio. I built a photo studio in San Diego, and I built it and opened it on March 1st. Well, I closed it on March 14th because of everything that happened. So I was like, okay, well, I got time. I had already built out the podcast room and everything, but I decided to do the podcast from the house and make it just me. Let me talk and get comfortable with things, and then go from there after things settle down, So
Yeah.
I've stayed consistent now for 25 weeks. There was a couple days I didn't want to do it, but I did it because there is a few people that listen every week, and for them, I appreciate it. I wanted to make sure that I held myself accountable. So it's more for me to hold myself accountable to something every week, and kind of discuss some things that are on my mind. And if I inspire one person, I feel accomplished from that. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think there's
Zilla,
something
you
to be
looked like
said.
you wanted to say something. Yeah.
I'm just saying that, I think there's something to be said in this COVID world about doing things that are making yourself better, whether it's in the world of self-care or establishing a routine. I'm going to tell you that most days, more often than not, and my sister's in the chat room, so I think she can attest to this. Like, I don't leave the house, but I still make my bed every morning. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, it's like it sets the tone for the day. It's just those little things that you have to do in this COVID world, that you have to have little milestones, little bits of accomplishment to keep yourself from going absolutely batshit crazy. And really quickly on your photo studio, William, I think you called me the week of March 1st and you're like, hey, you haven't done headshots in a while. Let's set up a time for you to come in. Let's get you some new headshots, because I'd signed on to a new radio station and whatnot. He's like, hey, let's get you. He's like, this will be good for you. It'll be good for me. We'll have some fun. I'm like, perfect. And then the entire world shuts down. So I need to lose 50 pounds, William. I need to get on your diet plan first, and then I'm going to make you do those headshots for me. Thank you, please, and I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for headshots right now too.
I mean, can you find a photographer to do that? Yeah. Can you find a photographer? I mean, are people actually working out there, Neil?
Yes.
I'm actually getting responses right now. I need to find somebody New York based or New York City based, because I'm not really traveling anywhere, even to different boroughs.
Yeah, you're not trying to go to Yonkers to go get your friggin'.
Didn't you just go to Atlanta?
I did.
Yes,
I
he
did.
did.
Didn't you just? Okay.
I did. I'm traveling.
Like, when I saw that, I was like,
Oh my God, dude, you have no idea. I didn't see anyone. Like, I was masked up. Like, I had sanitizer in my pocket at all times. Like, it was crazy. But
I drink. This is sanitizer. I drink this shit.
Hey, really, real talk.
Not
William,
Clorox.
question.
Different.
What would it take? Like, if someone wanted to book you to do a gig next Saturday, I mean, and they're willing to meet. Yeah, no, I'm talking to Fingaz. Okay. And they're willing to make your rate. So let's just take the rate out of the equation. What else would it take in order to make you feel safe and secure? Or is there nothing that could right now in this environment that would put your mind at ease to feel like, this is a gig that I'm going to want to do?
A private jet with only a pilot. and no, seriously, it's been weird because I came back from Asia on January 16th. I was actually in Beijing that week as things were happening, and I flew back to Los Angeles, and I haven't traveled outside of a 60-mile bubble. I haven't been to Los Angeles or nothing, and this is the longest in 19 years that I have not traveled. So I've had 2 people try to get me to go to Mexico. I was like, nope, not happening. I'm not gonna fly down. So I'm not getting on an airplane unless I can go back to Asia. Then I will get on an airplane. That's it. I'm not concerned about no gigs. I watch every day to see what's going on at the places I live over there. That is the only way I'll get on a flight and take any type of risk is going back to where I want to go. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're all just gonna jump on a plane together and go to TK's house. We're all gonna go crash it. We're all gonna go crash at TK's.
Have you played there yet, Fingaz?
Many times, yes. Yes, many times.
I've only seen.
It's a great spot.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, I haven't been there, but yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
For folks that are listening, we're talking about the skylight. We're talking about skylight in Nha Trang, Vietnam, where one of our mutual friends, basically he operates that venue, and Williams played there on a handful of occasions. And every time I see that place, I think their thing is that every night is New Year's Eve. Is that kind of their shtick there? They do a countdown at midnight, and everything pops off at midnight.
That's amazing.
I think
big.
that's
big. I mean, it's definitely fun.
So of all the Asian countries, you've lived, I think you've done Cambodia, you've done Vietnam, you've done, you've been everywhere. Where are you looking forward to calling home next time around? Or are you just gonna be a nomad in Southeast Asia?
Well, the past 3 years I've lived in Vietnam, and then the year prior to that I lived in Hong Kong, and then the last year I was kind of floating between Vietnam and Thailand. So when I go back, it's up in the air. Actually, to be honest with you, I'm in talks with a new residency in Hong Kong, but that wouldn't be till early next year if things, depending on things go. So either I'm going to end up back in Hong Kong or I'm going to end up in Thailand or Vietnam. One of those 3 will be where I'll go back this time once I can get back. So.
Do you speak any of the languages over there?
Basic hi, bye, left, right, thank you. I can get by, but for the most part, in the industry and most things are, it's all expats or foreigners that run everything.
Yeah.
Most everywhere, so it's not any issues. But I've been deep in parts. I lived in a part of Vietnam that was a local community, and I loved it. I put myself in these positions because I learn a lot, and it's made me who I am. So I like to live in those environments, and I'm more minimalist than I used to be. I mean, I used to have, $150,000 in cars at one time. I used to have all this stuff that I could care less about now. That was 10 years ago. I'm not who I was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? I've adapted to being minimal and wanting to spend more time creating memories and travel than I do with material. So it's just how I've adapted, and I wouldn't change it,
Yeah. So this is more of a personal question than anything. I travel a lot too. I mean, I think we all do at times. And I have no qualms, walking into a restaurant, sitting at a bar and eating a meal by myself, going to a movie by myself, doesn't bother me. There's plenty of people out there that aren't comfortable doing that, or they're embarrassed. It's got to be on another level to walk it, like you're saying, living in a local area in Vietnam where you don't speak the language, like walking into a little local restaurant for a meal, and if they don't speak the language, how do you even, how does that logistically work? How do you get a meal,
There's one thing I tell there's one thing from being around people that don't speak English, no matter where you are in the world. This is what I tell people. There's one thing that's for certain, no matter where you are on this entire earth, and smile. If you look at someone and you smile and you communicate, that's worldwide. So you already build something right there. And the way I treat people, especially anywhere but OCs is I look somebody in the eye. I always do that, and I smile, and I tell them, I give them that, hey, respect, like I know I'm in your, your neck of the woods, and I respect that, That brings me back to a funny story when I first went to New Zealand, and we were on tour. I was with Tech Nine, and this is before he got super, super big, and Corrupt and a bunch of other artists. And they had this whole greeting with the warrior guys, like some real like dope like greeting where they do this dance. All the guys come out and they were like, look, don't be scared. There's real aggressive, but they're greeting you.
They're doing a
big
haka?
deal. The news was there, something like that. And then at the end, you touch noses with them, right?
Yeah, I think it's a haka.
So I was like, oh, this is dope. I want to experience this. But like some of the artists were like, I ain't touching noses with no other dude. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like they don't look at it like being respectful. These are things I love to do because I appreciate how everybody is around the world, and I've got to see it. Now I'm at 60 countries. You know what I mean? So I've got to see a lot of stuff doing what I love to do, and that has made me exactly who I am today. And that's why I give my opinion on a lot of things, even with the situation we're in now, because I've been wearing masks for years in Asia for other reasons, out of respect for having a common cold, out of the air quality.
You mean it's not a muzzle, William? It's not a muzzle? You mean there are people
is a
in the other...
microchip. There's a microchip in there somewhere, but you got to find it.
You mean there are people in other parts of the planet that actually utilize a facial covering as a sign of respect, so that should they be carrying a cold or a flu or whatever, they don't spread it to the mass public transit system or the people on the bus, the people on the train, the people in the elevator. You're fucking kidding me.
Amazing, huh?
I'm
amazing, right?
Mind blown.
Welcome to America.
So
that's
for
why I
for those,
struggled with
go ahead,
with
Fingaz.
this situation.
I
That's why I've struggled with being here right now because of this. So.
Well, you touched on something, and it really resonated with me because I recognized it the other day. I miss smiling at people. I mean, listen, I do stay home most of the time, but if I go to a doctor's appointment, I went to my dentist's office the other day, and I've got my facial covering on, and if you know me, for the folks that that you only see this part of me, and you get to see me on the podcast, but I'm 6'6", I'm north of 300 pounds. I mean, I'm a big boy. And if you don't know me, I can look a little intimidating at times, and I diffuse that with a smile. Like that's how I diffuse that, is by smiling at people. Or if you're in the grocery store and you're passing carts, and you smile, and I'm saying, I find myself saying like my pleases and my thank yous more frequently now, because I can't smile at people. I can't engage. And I own a small sandwich shop. William, you've been there. Justin, you've been there. Neil, we're waiting for you.
I'm on my way.
The thing I tell I work with my parents there, and I have and we have some employees, and I'm trying to get across the idea of now we have to learn how to smile with our eyes, because there's no other way now, right? Because if you take this away, being bright-eyed and engaging, making eye contact, that's the new respect. There's no more fist bumps, there's no more handshakes. So right now we're learning how to we're kind of relearning how to do everything, even at our most fundamental, which is how to just say hello and engage and be warm and welcoming to people.
Right.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you're saying.
It's been hard for me as a sarcastic, New Yorker, because a lot of yes, exactly. Look, a lot of the things I say, I'm quick-witted. Like I'll say some things that like are might sound obnoxious, but I always say it with a smile, so that I'm just messing around. I like to have fun with people, and I've had to catch myself a couple times that I've said some things, and then people look at I see their eyes and they're like, what the fuck's happening right now? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm just kidding. Like, I'm just messing around. And like, then they take it, like they kind of, their shoulders drop a little and they're like, oh, okay. You know, but it like you're saying, it's hard to communicate or to convey, like not just your words, but it's body language now. It's
Right.
engaged, it's like being right there engaged with people as opposed to just like, you know, throwing out a comment with a little smirk and them knowing that you're just joking with them and just engage, you know, messing around. It's tough, and I hate it, but obviously, you know, we have to be safe. I mean, if anyone out there is listening to this, not live on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, you know, last night we found out that, you know, President Trump and the First Lady have gotten COVID,
You don't
tested
say.
positive. And, you know, I understand. I really understand how much people dislike him, hate him, I guess is the right word. And I do understand that people do wish ill on him. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't wish ill really on anybody. So I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. Fingaz, you're a little hot there with your headphones that just came on.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My other one's died. So.
No, you're good now. You're good.
Okay.
I don't know. It just kind of bummed me out, a lot of the social media posts that have been out there. Look, I understand a little, you know, a little, oh, yeah, that's too bad. You know, I get that. Like, I understand people are frustrated. But, you know, some of my friends have put stuff out there like, I hope they all die. Now,
Damn, son.
I actually know who said that.
yeah, and you know what, Zilla? I know you do, and he is one of my favorite human beings on the planet. He is the nicest guy ever.
Until now. Until
like,
now.
And look, and I know the way he feels about the president. I understand it. But to me personally, I don't agree with that. I'm still going to be friends with him. But
Sure.
because, I mean, you'd be a fucking asshole to not befriend someone because of kind of the way they feel about what's going on in the world right now, for the most part.
Eh.
But, you know, I mean, I just felt like that was a little too much for me. And that's just my opinion. I understand it if you disagree with me. So, Fingaz, I know you've been very outspoken about the president.
Yeah.
And you're not shy about your feelings, and I respect that. But guys, I mean, you know, this is a big deal. You know, there's already conspiracy theories out there that it's not real, and he's just doing this for a number of reasons. How do you guys feel about it? Fingaz, how do you feel about that? Just
Well, the whole thing about me saying, like, do I want him dead? No, because I want him to actually stay alive and hopefully pay for all the shit that he's done. Like, I honestly believe that in if he wasn't exactly how he was as a human being, I don't have a problem with Republican, Democrat, none of that, finding common ground, discussing things. That's democracy. I appreciate that. I do not like this man as a human being, the way he talks to people, the way he carries himself, just everything. And for me, it's like the people that I see, you know, defending him, when I don't need to watch any news. I watch live television and see for myself how he is, or lies that he tells, or knowing how he was in the past. Like, this man is never going to change. He's been who he was from the start, and it's not going to change now. Do I believe that he's massively in debt and does all that? Yes, I 100% would. I would bet my own money that he is tied to Russia and that they have him like this. That's just my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, you know. If he was at least a decent human being, I would rally behind him if he did the right thing through all this, whether I hated him or not. It's, but you know what? Let's all get together. But this has really made my Facebook go half of what it was, because I'm unfriending left and right, because I can't see myself having any type of relationship with a person that keeps defending this man for this factual things. Because I don't speak in guessing. I only post about things that are that are facts. And if I happen to be wrong, I'm going to say, look, I was wrong. But that's rare because I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't just repost something without doing my own research. I'm not that type of person. So I'm not going to spread all these false narratives and stuff. I'm going to say, look, these are facts that I'm posting. The bill in California is not making pedophiles, making pedophilia legal. Like, these are things I can't stand when people don't really understand and do the research and just listen to reposted YouTube things. Like, I'm that's not my type of, knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really frustrates me. And I think karma is real. I believe karma is real.
I agree with you there.
And I think that he's getting a taste of it, whether it's true or not. I believe it's true because he's too much of an egomaniac to not want to rally, to not want to do all this stuff. There's no way. And the only other scenario could be is he thinks somebody on his team saying, look, just do this because maybe they'll sympathize and maybe this and that. No, he would not do that. He wants to be in those. He wants to do this stuff. There's something really. He's really got it, and they're really watching him. And
I think if he could get away with keeping it a secret, he would.
Of course he would. Yeah, but they're going to try to flip it. Of course, they're going to wait and flip it if he gets uses the little things and all that stuff. He's going to say, "See, I beat it. It's not that bad." Da, da, da. They're going to find a way to spin it unless he dies. You know what I mean? It's plain and simple. So they're going to use it to whatever advantage they have. Now, do I think that Joe Biden is the answer for the United States? Not particularly. I was more of a Bernie Sanders type of person. I just thought he was a pretty legit, honest person that cared about people. And for me, that's all I want to see is someone that cares about the people in general, white, black, brown. I don't see that stuff. Yes, I believe Black Lives Matter because systematically we look at the history. It's in black and white that these are problems, and people just write them off, and they keep doing that, and all this frustration has built up over decades. So all this stuff is coming to a head in 2020. You pile it just keeps piling this shit on top of shit, and that's where we're at right now. So the world to me is just like, I'm not happy to say, oh, America. I'm not. I appreciate what America's done for me. And I said this in my podcast, but I don't appreciate what America's doing to me right now and a lot of other people. And that's just, I try not to get into politics, but this year I've had nothing but time. I got time today. I'm studying this. And I did. And I really did some, research on everything. And again, my
but
own
not just
two
on
eyes.
YouTube University, right?
No, I won't even watch that shit. My own two eyes and my own two ears. I take all the data and everything, and I believe in data and science and these type of things, and we heard it with our own ears, what the things that he has said. There's no having to fact check that. You know what I mean? So for me, I make these assessments based on that, and then based on real data, and that's why I've been so forward about it, because I don't think I could honestly. I do know a couple of people that are Republican or might be pro-America, and that's great. I think it would be great if we could all raise our flag and be pro-American, and they do that all around the world in other countries, right? But right now, right when you see that, the first thing that comes to mind is Trump. He's a Trump supporter. That's sad that we think that way, that we can't just be American and come together through this stuff. And it has to be, in my lifetime, never seen this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure you guys are feel the same way, regardless of what side you're on. But for me, it's just about humanity. Again, Joe Biden, he's been in office a long time. Obama wasn't even the greatest. He was amazing. He had couth and he had charisma and he spoke well. And these are important things as a world leader. Like Trump is Donald Trump. He's a failed con man. Like, these are facts. And if he wanted to release his tax returns, he could have done that. But it's going to keep unraveling, and it will come to light eventually, catch up with him. And hopefully, but it won't happen, because anybody that's diehard Trump, even if it came out and he was in jail, would probably still say that he was the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean?
Deep state. It's a conspiracy. It's the deep state.
I mean, the swamp could have been drained 4 years ago, the last 4 years. I don't see nobody draining no swamps. You know what I mean? What's he going to do with the next? He's going to do it the next 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that I look at and I'm just like, dude, like, and I want to stay out of the way. The last 4 years I've been in Asia, so it didn't really affect me. But now I'm stuck here, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Get me out of here. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I'm proud to be an American, but I'm not proud of America as a whole right now. And people looking at us, trust me, I've been to these other places. People are looking at us and just going, are you fucking kidding me? We are a reality TV show right now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the sum it up.
That's on the verge of being canceled.
It is for sure.
Oh my God, I was talking.
We're not going to renew that.
I was talking to my friend from Australia like 3 days ago, and she was like, "Dude, all we see is fires, riots, and like." She started listing off all these things, and she's like, "Literally, that's the only thing we see on the news from you guys." She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine," but I mean, they were like, "Dude, it on our side looking in, it looks like it's just sheer chaos going on over there." I'm like, "It's not wrong."
Yeah, you're not far off. But I don't hate or I despise him, but I don't, again, I want him to eventually, I want it to catch up to him. I want the truth to actually come out with this so people can actually put it to rest and be like, damn, I'm not going to be like, oh, I told you so, but it's going to happen eventually. Even if let him have another 4 years. Okay, cool. Let me out of here. Let him tear the country apart. And then what are they going to say when the other 4 years goes to shit? What excuses are there going to be then when nothing else changes? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a sad year. You know what I mean? For everything. And it sucks because I feel like I'm like in a prison because I cannot go. Literally, I'm used to going and just, okay, I don't have to be here. I don't have to deal with it, and I am. So, again, people are entitled to their opinions. They can be pro-Republican. They can do all this. But if they can at least admit the facts about Trump, then I can respect them. I can say, you know what, I respect that. You believe this, you believe that, whatever. But if you are just keep denying everything that gets thrown out that is facts, not just hearsay, then I can't respect that. I can't be friends. I can't be friends with a human like that. It just, there's nothing in me that could be fake to allow me to do that.
Right. Well, Fingaz, that we typically steer clear of politics on this show. That was probably the most we've talked about this.
Right.
And I appreciate it because I think you make very, very, very good points.
All right. Thank you. I try, man. I just try to speak facts, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's something to be said for, separating the man from the office, right? I mean, like, for me, in all of this, and I had this discussion with somebody on Facebook the other day, which is, 4 years ago, Donald Trump was not my first choice. Probably wasn't my last choice. But being aspirational, you would hope that the man would rise to the measure of the office. And now 4 years later, we're kind of looking at something, and here are massive opportunities to demonstrate leadership. And whether it's through, I don't want to say incompetence, but maybe it's through inability or unwillingness or whatever the reasons are, we really haven't risen to the office. The man hasn't risen to the measure of the office at this point. And with an election 31 days away, I don't know how you can't reevaluate. Like, I get it. You voted for him 4 years ago.
Right.
But now you're revisiting this. Is this what you signed up for? Is this the America when he asked you to help him make America great again? Is this what you had in mind?
Right.
And stop, the buck stops somewhere, and usually it's in the Oval. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong to think that the president wields that much power. And before anybody says, well, it's a bicameral legislature, we have three co-equal branches of government. Correct. And throughout every presidency, we've dealt with, opposing sides, people either working with or against other members, across the aisle of other parties. That's just the way that our system has been designed. That doesn't mean that we legislate on behalf of just the people that vote for us.
Right.
That's
It's
Hey,
there's
let me-
more
let me-
to it. Sure.
Guys, let me jump in real quick. Neil, I know you have to go. So I think the three of us will continue this. We do still have to do Grinds My Gears, too. But Neil, you want to say anything before you bounce out of here? Neil has to go to work, everybody.
oh geez,
this is
working
just-
DJ.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So what grinds my gears before I leave is
Oh, wow,
all three of y'all.
Oh, I feel the love. It just
Wow,
out
that-
like that.
Out.
That was
He
great.
just dropped a mic.
Love it,
Oh, my
love it.
God. But yeah, I mean, did both of you guys watch the debate? I would assume you both did.
Yes.
I did.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna before we get into that, let's go into Grinds My Gears because I have a Grinds My Gears.
All right.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hey.
Fingaz, normally I ask the guests if they want to go first or last, but I'm gonna jump in.
Okay.
You know what
Do it.
grinds my gears?
What grinds your gears, Justin?
The fact that these are our two choices. That's what grinds my gears. I guess whatever system is set up to where there's this two-party system where, you know, some run here, some run there, and then we pick the best one from each side, or the quote-unquote best one from each side. That was an embarrassment on, what was it, Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. I don't even know what to say about it. Neither one of them would be my first choice. And just the fact that however we got here, and that's who we have the options of voting for now. Because look, I mean, you could vote third party. You could vote for Kanye, I guess. You could vote for, you know, these other candidates. But it's not a real, it doesn't mean anything. If anything, it's going to help one or the other of, you know, the other guys. And I think in this case, it helps President Trump, right?
Trump, yeah.
In this case, I mean, in other years, it would help the Democratic candidate. So, but the fact that if you know, I was always told when I would ask questions of people, and I'm not a politics guy, but I would ask people, who do I vote for? Like, and the answer was always, you vote for the person that embodies kind of what you're all about and who looks out for, who you think is looking out for you. And I'm like,
Right.
wow, well, that's not really either of these guys. But I mean, even in a year like this, I mean, as a middle-aged, middle-class white guy, you know, if I took that approach, I would think I have to vote for Donald Trump. But, you know, like, but for the majority of my friends and people I care about, he's not the right guy. So I don't like, I shouldn't say I'm confused on who to vote for. But it's just a weird thing to have to, because I don't like the other option. I mean, he like I said it to my ex-wife who I live with, and I know everyone in the chat loves to make fun of me. It's just a co-parenting thing, and we make it work. Joe Biden reminds me of, like, you know, when you go and you hang out at like a local bar and you get a couple drinks, and then there's the guy that sits at the end of the bar, and he's like everybody's favorite uncle. He's like, this guy's awesome. Like, you know, he's a charming guy, right? He has that laugh that would just, like, every time Trump would say something ridiculous, he would just like, instead of like throwing his hands up, he would just kind of like chuckle at him. And it's very endearing. And I was like, I love this guy. Like, you know, and then you have like all the shit that, you know, it's like what you said earlier, Fingaz. It's like, it's not real news sources. You know, it's like they're like, with him like smelling kids or whatever the fuck it is. It's so dumb. You know, and him not being able to speak. I mean, yeah, you can take a snippet of any conversation, especially this one right here, and you could make the case that I can't speak. But like, so if you want to edit a conversation or someone giving a speech, you can make him sound like a fucking idiot. Now,
Or you can make them
granted-
sound like a racist, or you can make them sound like
Right.
a homophobe. You can make them sound like a xenophobe. I mean, you
Yeah.
can cut and chop and spin things exactly the way you are. But I think the real measure is when you look at what people say and how they say it, and then hold them accountable for their words, because words matter.
Yeah, you know, I just hate the fact that we have 274-plus-year-old white guys as our two choices.
Well, can I interject on this really quick though, Justin? You know,
Of course.
I've made it abundantly clear where I stand on this, and if you don't know where I'm voting, it's not for Donald Trump. With that said, the way I see it is I am not buying Joe Biden. I am renting him for the next 4 years so that we can hopefully teach some. I mean, look, the system is flawed. And this is an entirely different podcast where we could talk about just how flawed the dynamics of the Electoral College in and of itself are. The fact that California, which has, 35 million residents and is the 6th largest economy in the world, California is essentially its own country, has the same amount of representation in the Senate as South Dakota, which has a population smaller than like Yuma, Arizona. So now, granted, I might be embellishing a little bit, but I think the point is made that, I think we need to have a wholesale, hardcore look at the way that our government functions today, because let's be real. In 1786, when the Constitution was ratified, people had a life expectancy of 50. And it was written by a bunch of rich white men to benefit rich white men. And I'm sorry, guys, if I sound like I'm bashing the Constitution. I really do believe in the Constitution. I believe in it as a living and breathing document that we should revisit over the years. And we've made amendments over the years to make it better. Hence the Bill of Rights. Hence the Equal Rights Amendment. And moving on, so on. We've made laws that make no sense at all, such as prohibition, which we then repealed 9 years later. I mean, we have to take our swings at things and continually make it better. But to say that, the Second Amendment protects my rights to have an AR-15 or, a machine gun when it was written at a time when everybody carried a musket, I don't think that that's properly that we're addressing that in the specific context in which it was written.
Yeah.
So to my original point, I'm renting Joe Biden for the next 4 years. And Justin, you brought up one thing about the debate itself. And, again, I'm not a Joe Biden fan by any stretch of the imagination. I have some serious bones to pick with him. But when Donald Trump basically used, his son's addiction as a lever, and Joe Biden looked straight into the camera and said, "My son has had his problems and I love my son."
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever once seen Donald Trump show affection to any of his children. I don't think he's that person. I don't think I've ever seen, am I the only person that misses the presidential dog? Like George Bush in the Rose Garden with his dog rolling around on the grass, being a real fucking human being. Or, the Christmas cards and the photos and all of the things that make the first family a first family.
Well, he's never been he's never been a real human being in that way. He's been, a New York City socialite, billionaire, quote unquote, for many, many years. And that's just not who he is as a human. It has never been. I mean, growing up in New York, I've known about him since I'm,
Well, I'm asking the question. I mean, amongst us and facetiously amongst our, 32 dedicated viewers, am I the only person that actually misses that energy coming out of our White House? Regardless of whether, I couldn't differ more than both Bush Sr. and Jr. in times of, in their time in the White House. From a policy standpoint, I couldn't be more derivative from there, right? But You see George Bush Sr. fishing in Kennebunkport, or Bush Jr. on the ranch in Texas with his family, going to church in the family chapel and all of those things. I'm sorry, I miss that shit, because that's the America I grew up in, and this is not the America that I grew up in.
You don't like seeing golf?
Listen, Justin Zotz is the king of golf. He loves golf, and and we could argue that Barack Obama played a shit ton of golf too. Sure, but
he also played basketball though. He was
yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to go too far down on this. I just, since we were talking about it, there are certain things that I miss about the White House, and there used to be a certain level of prestige isn't the right word, but you would look at the office of the presidency in awe. You would be in awe of the presidency. It's just something that most of us regular guys could never aspire to actually hit. And then you've got this guy in there who's just basically a bully. He's a bully in an ill-fitting suit. And I don't know if that's the guy I want leading the country for the next 4 years. And if you see otherwise, I'd love to, have a conversation with you and explain my points of view. I hope that you don't think that makes me a bad person or unpatriotic. Believe me, I'm as patriotic as it gets. I love this country, but I don't like where we're at right now.
Yeah, and that's what I've said to many people too. Is if you are a Republican, or you do believe in these things, or you happen to like Trump, tell me some legitimate, real, factual things that make him likable or love. Besides if you're the 1%, making billions or whatever it is, like. Again, it's the human connection. Like everything you said about the other presidents show that they were normal humans. He's just a business guy running us like a business. That's you see that he's never going to change. That's how he's been his entire life. That's all he knows. So at 74, it's not going to change. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean?
That's like one of the things you can actually give him credit for.
Yeah.
Like the guy's authentic. Like that's who he is. There's no. He's not pretending to be anything he's not. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I guess the question reverts back to if you voted for him 4 years ago, is this what you signed up for? And are you willing to sign up for it again?
See, I knew somebody I just had an hour conversation with that voted for him 4 years ago that's not voting for him this year because of those reasons. You know what I mean? I get it. If you did it 4 years ago, he's not a politician. He's going to come in and, change this shit up. You know what I mean? Like, okay. I didn't vote 4 years ago. I was like, I'm out of here. I was overseas. I'm not voting. I voted once in my life, and that was Barack Obama's first term. And because I wanted to see that, you know what I mean? And so I made it to the polls that last hour or whatever it was and did it. But this year I'm definitely voting again. And, it's obviously not going to be Trump. And I just want to see our homeless population, healthcare. I want to see things that benefit humans in America like that. That's all I personally want to see is everybody get the things that they deserve. And that's it. That's all I want to see, and if he were to give that, if he was really legitimately with that, then I would be like, fuck it, man, let him ride another 4 years,
Listen, the three of us are all small business owners. And when it's all said and done, the accountability starts and ends with us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the CEO, excuse me, if you're the president, you are the head of the executive branch, which makes you the CEO of America.
Mm-hmm.
The accountability begins and ends with you. Good, bad, or otherwise. And if you're unwilling or unable to take the responsibility for that, no one's going to fault you if you just say, you know what, I gave it my best shot. I gave it 4 years. I thought I did what it was best. I'm going to move out of the way and let someone else give a swing at it. But this is what we're dealing with right now is not sustainable. A pandemic in this country with no national strategy. To this day, we have the president of the United States currently being observed in a hospital for a potentially life-threatening illness. None of us really knows how severe it is or isn't because no one's communicating to the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's all bound on speculation and conjecture. We've had no national strategy on this. We have no clear communication as to what the line of success. Like, what if all of a sudden he's on a vent? Has somebody signed the letter for the 25th Amendment? Does that mean we end up with President Pence and Vice President Pelosi on next Tuesday? I mean, these are all things that we've got hundreds of millions of people that are still waiting to get unemployment checks, that are still waiting to get stimulus packages. They're trying to get rescue packages for their businesses, their restaurants.
Right.
We need better.
But there's no way that they're going to, all the things you just said, there is no way this close to the election that they're going to say or do those things, because then his actual voters or other voters might be, oh shit, he's going to die or whatever. They're not going to come out with that right now unless he's actually going to fucking die. That's just it. They're not going to make it be like, oh, Mike Pence is now in charge during they're not going to, he won't allow that. I honestly don't think that he will allow that. You know what I mean? Like for his election and ego and all that, because if people get a wind that he's, on critical condition or on a ventilator, are they going to vote for him? Why?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I honestly think they will, because they think that if they vote for him, they can just put Ivanka in his place. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
let's be real. One of the other things that we really need to work on as a country is educating our children and making them informed participants as part of the electorate. Mm-hmm. I think that, social studies and the way that our government works is something that's just basically glanced over in, middle school and in high school. And I think that if we actually got our kids involved, or as some people on, the opposing spectrum would say, indoctrinated, that's not what this is about, people. It's about making sure that we know, that how our government works, and be an active participant, because if the government isn't going to work for you if you don't put the work in with your government.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true.
The government's going to do what the government's going to do if you don't use your voice. So
it's true. If you don't vote, you shouldn't be able to really say anything. That's the honest truth. Like you have to give your part. You know what I mean? If you want change with anything, you have to participate. You know what I mean? You have to start. You have to do these things. Speak up about it. You have to do these things in order to really, have a valid opinion. I would assume. You know what I mean? But
I don't
fuck
disagree.
Politics.
So I want to bring a little levity to this situation right now.
Sure.
My 9-year-old, who is hilarious, nice hat, Zilla. My 9-year-old comes home from school one day, and he says, "Hey, Dad, I hate Donald Trump." I go, "Well, okay."
Tim is a
I'm
genius.
I go, "Why is that, Tim?" Well, when you hear his reasoning, you're going to laugh. He goes, "Because he's building a wall in China to keep the Mexicans out."
Damn. Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's got part of it right.
Yeah.
You mean illegal, undocumented immigrants that come to America and pay sales tax and pay taxes on all sorts of things, pay rent so that property owners can pay their property taxes, which go to fund government coffers. I mean, let's be real here. If I paid more than $750 in my taxes, and I don't want to hear a word about, well, that doesn't include payroll tax and employment tax and this and that. That shit don't count. It's what's on the very bottom line of your 1040. If you paid, I paid my accountant more than $750
to do my account, right?
Exactly.
And that's the thing. Like I said, all these things I'm sure are legitimate. He's done them. He's avoided them. That's just who he is. And all these type of situations are just things that, people need to discuss and have conversations about these type of things, but again, having conversations and seeing, I always try to put myself in the other shoes of someone else so I can see both sides of it. I don't just say, fuck you, without going there first and saying, okay, let me see, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And I've done that with everything in life. So I definitely, don't just close myself out to it. I want to know both sides of the thing so I can make an honest, judgment for myself. And that's just my character saying, okay, well, let me put myself in your shoes and just see what it's, how it's like, because, even with the China thing, like they talk about buy in America and make in America, that's great. But you know how expensive that is? And you know the wages are here and you want to buy stuff that's American, it's here. People are going to buy in China. It's why they've been buying in China. Like, if you don't bring this up, how are we supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, these are all things that I look at and I go, shit, of course, if I can buy this shit in China, if I could support a small business here, I do that. If I can buy something that I can get in China for half the price and it's imported or whatever it is, like, of course I'm going to do that. Like, if I could buy
if your iPhone was made here in the United States, your iPhone would be $3,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's designed in California.
But no one wants to pay $3,000 for their iPhone.
Unless we were making $35, $40 an hour working at McDonald's, like they do in Switzerland, they do in these other countries, and the way that things are set up. Yeah, so like those are things that the U.S. I just wish would, like I said, healthcare and wages and all these things would really focus on that. Whoever is in charge, you know what I mean? Like, to really say, look, we got to get our people right. That's what I look at. So with that being said, fuck Donald Trump. And if you like him, that's cool. But I just want to see the American people, black, white, brown, yellow, be taken care of. That's all I see.
Go vote.
You know? But that's not what grinds my gears.
All right, we're saving you for last. You're going to end the show on that. Zilla, what is grinding your gears today?
You know what grinds my gears? The need for pumpkin spice everything. It is, I don't understand why all of a sudden it becomes like mid-September, and I was totally fine with the whole concept of the pumpkin spice latte, perhaps like the little pumpkin muffin at your local Starbucks with the cream cheese frosting. Good. I'm good. But do we really need pumpkin spice Oreos, pumpkin spice Cheerios, pumpkin spice dog food, pumpkin spice gasoline? I think
Speaking on behalf of white girls everywhere, yes, we do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
so
trendy.
are you
trendy? Actually, I hate pumpkin, so I am just messing around.
Listen, I love me a good pumpkin. I love pumpkin pie, especially right at Thanksgiving. Pie. I love some things pumpkin. I just don't understand why it has to be everything pumpkin. It's just weird to me.
It's gotten magnified and cool, and everything. Social media has obviously blown it up more. And so 2 years ago, during this season, I always name my tour something, whatever. I named my tour the Pumpkin Spice Latte Tour because I was like, "Fuck it, this is what I'm going to call it." And I went on tour in Asia, the Pumpkin Spice Latte Tour. I straight up did it. Like, that was my thing.
So good.
Like, if the Spice Girls ever got back together, they would add a pumpkin spice for their October and November dates. It just doesn't click to me. But if you are in the chat room and you have some sort of fascination with pumpkin, please educate me on it. Of course, my sister. Wait, maybe she's saying I don't like pumpkin. Then yeah, okay, maybe Jennifer, you are my sister after all. But. Yeah, so that's what grinds my gears. The 2nd of October, 2020.
All right, DJ Fingaz. This is the fun part of the show where you tell us what grinds your gears.
Well, I thought it was going to be DJ orientated. I guess it could be anything. But
it could be anything.
I was thinking DJ orientated, and if this does like irritate me, and I've talked about it a lot, is DJs that reach and overinflate their bios and be like, "Oh, I'm an international DJ, but you played in Mexico." That makes me mad, because I don't think, if you don't cross water, to me, like if you're not flying over water, you're just Canada or Mexico, you're still in America. You're just in South America or North America. Like, it's still America. So I get irritated when I see people really reaching, like, "Oh, international DJ played in Mexico," and I'm just like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of DJs, I see them, they just reach, or they do I put your schedule and I got this private event. It's probably like a quinceañera, but they put it on there like to make it look like their schedule is so busy, and like the realness of just saying, this is what it is. Even when I made my videos for my Fabricali TV of me traveling and DJing, it was 9 times out of 10 just POV at what was going on, because anybody can overproduce a DJ video and make it look amazing stock footage and whatever hype and make it, cool. I want people to honestly say, damn, this is real shit. Like, I might have rocked a crowd in this country and there was only 15 people. Yeah, there was. And you know what I did? I rocked it. I got out with them, and I, got involved with them. And, that's how I interact with people. And I want people to see the good and maybe the bad. It's not bad to me. I'm still in a different country getting paid, doing what I love to do. But I don't have to always show you the glitz and glamour and the new Jordans and all this shit. Like, it's just been so like inflated and to look so cool. You know what I mean? Like, and that grinds my gears, man. I just want to see dudes that there's some genuine guys out there and for sure. And I'm not saying you can't have those things, but it's the ones that you can really tell are reaching, like even during this pandemic, I seen somebody make a schedule that, they doing something to make it look like they're working. They're the only DJ
sitting at home, sitting at home.
Like, okay, what do you, the DJs are only trying to impress the other DJs. The regular people don't give a shit. These DJs are just working against each other. Like, why are you going to compete against somebody in your own backyard? At least go after somebody bigger, do something different. But you're just trying to look cool to the next DJ in your city that you don't like, or you're trying to outdo him. Nobody cares about that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I get, I know I say grumpy DJ, but like, I just, I did it differently. So I think that's why, I never had, and I've been on the black label. I joke about this, but you've done a few things for me, but I've never officially been on any roster. I've never had a manager. I've never been associated with any cool DJ coalition. You know what I mean? It's just been me. And I've done everything on my own and got to where I am. And I've done it being as humble and as genuine as I can. But if you step on my toe, I'm going to put you in your place. And that's the balance how I am. Everything in my life is balance. I respect a lot of people, but there's a lot of people that just don't like me because of that. A lot of DJs, they're like, oh, they won't admit. They watch me. I know they have. You know what I mean? And they've learned from me, but they'll never find it to be like, man, I really, I looked up to you. Or you really inspired me for this, because they feel like, I don't know. I really don't know sometimes, but I think because I'm just too honest about that type of stuff. Some DJs just keep their mouth shut and, they do their thing and that's what it is. But I don't go around looking to start shit with people. But if something is in front of me, I'm going to speak on it, Simple.
We know that.
Yeah. No problem with that.
So just to clarify, crossing from Chula Vista to TJ does not make you an international DJ?
Negative.
Okay. Because you have to cross the border.
Hold on. As an agent who has to sell people, I'm telling you, that is an international DJ.
Oh, Jesus. That's just as bad as like, the Instagram fake followers. Like, yeah, they got, 50,000 followers and there's like 5 likes at the picture. Like that's the same. That's how I look at it. It's like, just everything I've done has always been organic and just real. And I'd rather have, 1,000 genuine people than 100,000 just fake people, and that's again, because I've learned so much in this industry, how to keep my guard up, who to be, I never befriended people for a job. If I genuinely like you, we have a mutual respect, it's always going to be like that. I could not see you for 2 years. You could be VIP at this club. And as soon as I walk up, you're like, Fingaz. And we have this mutual thing. And I have so much appreciation for people like that. I don't have to call them or text them or pretend like I'm checking up on them. It's just, that is the respect. You know what I mean? And that's what I like having with people. It's not for me, like I'm going to go call them every day or check up on them. And I'm sure there's a lot of people feeling it right now because these guys aren't getting those calls and texts because there's nothing they can do for anybody. You know what I mean? And I just want to have genuine people in my life. And if I deal with you in a club environment and we genuinely have this respect, man, I love that situation. But I'm not going to be like your buddy because I want to get in somewhere. That's never been my MO with anything.
I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
I like it.
So William, thank you so much for coming
thank
on,
you guys.
That was awesome. So why don't you tell everyone about the podcast, when it goes live, all that fun stuff and kind of
Okay.
leave us with a little bit of what you have going on.
Right. So
How people can check up on you.
my podcast is called Monday versus Everybody, and it's on all streaming platforms every Monday, every single streaming platform, and it's just me basically like talking about pretty much things that are on my mind. I literally freestyle it. Like I literally come up with it that right when I'm turning the mic on. It's something that I've gone through the day and said, look, this is on my mind now. Stuff that people can relate to, that are either going through it, have been through it. How do we make it better? Or, and then I talk some shit here and there, but like, it's mostly just, things that people can relate to that either are a creative in some way, photographer, DJ, music, even a regular person, I try to, balance that out. Like early on, I was trying to tell DJs how to, go here to get this and go here to get this pandemic relief and, trying to help if I can help people and those type of things. So Monday versus Everybody. Yeah. And then my Instagram is at Fingkong, Fingkong.
Right down there on the bottom of the screen.
Scrolling. Yeah, I took, I've had DJ Fingaz since the 90s. I dismantled it this year. There's no reason for me to keep up with that because I don't have that passion right now for that. Like my photography is my passion. You guys can follow that. It's my company's called Lens Access. Also on Instagram, Lens Access. And that's where I'm at now, traveling the world, connecting with people, taking photos, fashion, studio, portrait stuff, a lot of e-commerce stuff right now. I love that. I still always going to love music. I'm producing records. I just did 2 new records for E40. He's got some new projects coming out. Like I'm always still doing music, licensing, and that's always going to be there. But as far as me saying, DJ Fingaz, and I want to be in the club every week, and I just don't feel that right now. I will do selected things that I really enjoy because my soul enjoys it. Like not because I'd rather play in San Diego at the AC Lounge and get a third or a half of what I would get anywhere else in San Diego. But I'm doing what I love to do and people appreciate it. That's what I care about at this point in my life. You know what I mean? It might have been different 10 or 15 years ago. But if you don't adapt and change, we get older, we learn, we mature. These are all things that I look at a lot of younger guys and I say, you're going to learn one day. You know what I mean? And, even with drinking, I was never a drinker. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. And I've been in this industry my whole life, And, when people see me with you mentioned my kids, my son is 26 now. He DJs. He's an awesome DJ. My daughter's about to be 25. Like they think it's my brother and sister when I'm out with them. They're like, you have kids that are 26. And I'm like, yeah. And then how do you do? I say, you know what? I do what I love to do. I don't do stress and drama. I keep my zen, and I do things that are good for me inside, and it reflects on everything else. I believe in good energy and karma and all those things. And again, can I be a dick? Hell yeah, I can. And sometimes I love it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm going to be the first one to help somebody that needs help. I'm going to be the first one to, I don't just give a homeless guy $1 and I walk away. I say, hey, what's your name? And I look him in the eye and I give somebody the connection of being human as well. Just because they're on the street doesn't mean they're not human or, these are things I like to do because I feel good about it from traveling all over the world and seeing it and even helping people in different countries, Like I feel fortunate to be where I'm at today for 25 years of doing what I love to do. And I try to let people feel that energy, So, but I can be a dick.
But in his defense, he's also in his defense, and actually in both of your defenses, you guys are also the ones that'll come see your friend when he's in the hospital. True. Because I was that friend. True. And so like, I know where your guys' hearts are at. You guys are both fucking assholes, but you're the real deal too. So I'll talk.
I just came for the snacks, Zilla.
Right. There's always good snacks around me. That's always good. Yeah. All right. That's good shit, bro. Cool. I like it.
So William, thanks so much again, man. Definitely appreciate this. We got to do it again because there's so much on my list we didn't talk about.
Oh yeah, anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah, Zilla, why don't you just kind of talk about what we have going on and how to find us, and then we'll
Absolutely.
just bounce after that because normally Neil plays us out, but he's virtually
Playing a yacht
on
party.
a yacht right now.
I could beatbox us out.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of The Old Guy in the Club. You can find us wherever podcasts are streamed each and every Monday. We go live each and every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern. So that's basically it. If you get a chance, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and follow. If you'd like to subscribe to the podcast and help keep us going, we would sincerely appreciate that. Give myself, Justin, and Fingaz a follow on all of our social media handles. We love talking to you. So just don't forget to engage with us, and we're looking forward to hearing from each and every single one of you. And with that said, have a great weekend, motherfuckers. Oh, and one other thing. Make America love again. We need some empathy. So listen, we need some empathy in this world, and you can pick this up at wearemassive.com. Get yourself one of these because I think we need a whole lot more of this and a whole lot less of that.
Right.
All right, guys. Thanks for
All
coming
right.
in.
See ya.
See you guys next week.
Peace.